And so just with that, I just want to say that just keep it simple, have the information as we're going. Eventually, you're not going to be able to keep up with me, so you might want to just tab it, say call number 5 or 6 or whatever. But at least you can start going back, and you had personality styles, we had communication, we had telephone stuff, and now you're going to have a tab that's going to say job description. So stay tuned. Okay, everyone, top of the hour. Let's get started. So good morning, good afternoon. I'm excited to talk to you about this because this is a key area where a lot of assistants get frustrated. So the C's out there get frustrated, the S's get frustrated, the I's are going, oh my gosh, there's just so much. And so we want to just make sure that, you have a job description. And remember, I'm on your side. I get these agents. They're as crazy as I am. And they're all over the page. But a lot of agents sometimes go, I wonder what my assistant does all day. And you're thinking to yourself as an assistant, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Do you know what I do all day? I'm juggling this. I got this. I got that. I got this. And so I want to create the value for you. And if you don't do this exercise today and you don't put an effective job description together between now and next week, and you don't use some of the suggestions I'm going to give you, then you're headed in the wrong direction. When you present a 5-page job description or 4-page, the longer the better as far as I'm concerned, and you have your agent sign off on it and you sign off on it, they're going to look at that and go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize all the things you do. And this is such a great thing for the future too, because when you hire the next assistant, which a lot of you are on these calls building teams, then you're going to take things off of your job description and create a new one, which then also becomes the training checklist. So we're going to learn the 10 tips for developing your job description, discover how to write a job description and what it should include. We're going to review a job description samples, and we're going to learn how to be the perfect assistant. Imagine that, the perfect assistant. Now, with that said, I've covered a lot of this with your agent, and so they will be expecting you to come with a job description to them. So just FYI. So on page 3, do you have a job description? Is it posted? Is it posted? You're thinking to yourself, why would it be posted? Gosh, one of my favorite things is walking into an office where a job description is posted on the wall, because then it's really clear what you do. I've seen people do it. You go to the dollar store and you buy those frames that are 99 cents. They're black. They look professional. That's great. Has your job changed since you were hired? Have you updated your job description? Most of you, you're going to be changing your job description on a daily basis. So get ready, because things just change. It's real estate. Do you know your agent's job description? Well, I'm going to give you that, and we're going to break through some barriers on that one. All right, so let's go to page 4. So, Katie, what are the first couple of tips on writing the perfect job description?
A few things that you have us do to write the perfect job description is to get a yellow legal pad and just start writing down every single thing that you're doing. Just keep writing. Write down everything you're going to do. So number 2, write down, if you go to pick up the mail, you're going to write that down. So number 1 is get a legal pad. Number 2 is write down everything that you do.
Yeah, so, and Katie, the thing on that, Katie, too, is let's remind everybody, put the legal pad to the side of your desk there. And when you do a different activity like you're calling on termite, or you followed up on a bill, or you're checking, you're sorting through the mail, and you go, oh, that's not on my job description, I need to write that down. Or you handled, a buyer incoming call, and you don't normally do that, but you did it today because no one was around. Put those things in there, right, Katie?
Exactly. Put it all down.
Okay.
Number 3,
Number 3,
you're going to categorize. So you're going to categorize everything. If it's with the listings, categorize it. Closings, categorize it. Number 3, you're going to categorize.
Sense. Yeah, just makes sense. If it's telephone stuff, put that stuff together. If it's listing stuff, closing, field work, field coordinator, all of that's just categorized. And then I think number 4 is, put it in a logical manner. And so you're going to see some examples. And as I go through these examples, I want you to check off what you're doing so that, you've got these phrases and they're just ready to go. And then number 5 is make brief, specific statements. You don't have to get into lengthy paragraphs or lots and lots of verbs. And then number 6, no abbreviations. No abbreviations. Because remember, this job description, you're going to ultimately start transforming it, moving it to someone else's job description, and it's not, sometimes people don't understand things. Okay? What's number 7?
Number
Katie?
7, it's not a wish list.
It's not a to-do wish list, something that you hope you're going to get around to. It's not a wish list, so you have to be specific. If it goes on there, it's something that you're trained on and that you're doing right now. If it's not something you're doing right now, it can't go on that job description. What's number 8, Katie?
Number 8 is do not include unreasonable expectations. So Monica's had an assistant come, and in there it said 2 hours of lead generation. That's not something that's reasonable, is it, Monica?
No, and I don't, for an assistant, they have 2 hours of lead generation. Are you kidding me? And a lot of agents are trying to figure out how to delegate that off to you, I'm sure. So if I get some comments back, you can email them to me at Monica@Heller, the home seller. I really don't care, but that's fine if your agent's not happy because you've been hired as an administrative person. Nowhere does it say you're a salesperson and a lead generator. So I'm real clear about that. So I'm sure that'll get everybody all riled up. And then I guess number 9 is no excessive details. When you're writing everything out, remember, it's just a description. It's a brief description. And then I'm a real key person on number 10 is always have, signatures and a date. Always have signatures and a date. And you can make this more complicated than you want, but I'm trying to keep it really simple. I'm trying to make sure that, all the key responsibilities are on there and the duties, and that it's a working document. So you might want to write down a number 11, and that is you've got to have a scheduled review on it. So once a quarter, you should be looking at it. But right now, I want you to create one. If you have one, good for you. Fix it, make it better. I'm sure you can. If you don't have one, now you get to have one. And if you have one, it makes no sense. You're not even doing that job anymore, which is how some of it happens. Then we carry on, all right? So hit *6 to unmute yourself. If you have a question right now, I'll hold for a second or two. Anyone have a question? Okay. All right, page 5. All right, so here's your job description sample. And so goals to help the agent increase business, to help the agent decrease expenses, to assist the agent in developing clients for life, keep the agent on track, to monitor goals, to handle administrative duties. Okay, pretty broad statements, but those are the goals. Daily must handle all incoming phone calls, incoming emails, fill out daily meeting form, go through each active file folder. And I briefly touched on that, but if you touch all the file folders every single day on your listings or your closings, you're absolutely going to stay out of jail and not have things fall through the cracks. Now, responsibilities. Now, as I read through some of these, and I'm not going to read the whole thing because that'd be crazy, but, check off the ones. Handle all incoming phone calls. Do you know that there are some assistants out there that do not handle incoming phone calls? The agent does that. Really? That's like Gary Keller answering the phone at Keller Williams. You've got to think business. You've got to think delegate. You've got to think corporation. Donald Trump answering his phone, Obama answering the phone. I mean, this is a small business, obviously, but it's a business. So when the agent has all the phones directed to his or her cell phone, trust me, that's craziness. So you need to talk about that. Return all phone calls in a timely manner. Handle all incoming emails. Prepare all packages, pre-list listing and file folders. Might add buyer packages there. Send them out. Handle all checking accounts, deposits, reconciliations. Not sure if that's in your job description, but it's definitely look through this whole list. Post new listings on office board. Responsible for all correspondence. Backup computers. Probably having that done automatically now. Prepare weekly group 1 tabloid writing ad using if sheets. So, if you're writing all the ads for the properties, you could probably say that a little bit differently. Pre-listing package on page number 6, call seller, confirm date, prepare CMAs. And remember, this is broken out. So pre-listing, and then you've got listing clients prepare a new CMA. So one of the things that needs to be put on here also is to take a look at making sure everything's entered in the database correctly, that all entries in there, and that's name, address, phone number, and even the orphan buyers, getting all the orphan buyer information. After offers received, after closing on page 7, buyer clients, you can go read through that and check, schedule showing appointments, make copies for clients, agents, congratulation letter for buyers once they processed it, attend closings if that's something you do in your area. We don't do that in California. Send thank you letter, note, etc. We usually also have, Cutco knives, client survey sent and received. Detailed tasks include on page 8 and knowledge of the following systems and necessary basic skills, and then dated, very, very important, employee and agent. Katie, anything else I missed on that you would add?
A key point, and one time Monica put in, even though she has a new car and she put in the directions, you got to prepare the map in the directions and double check that, because Monica went out to a listing and she got taken to go to a state park. So double check the map and the directions to the property.
Oh, it had happened to me again last week. I've got a new car with a new system in it, and it didn't have it on there, and I had to call Stephanie, and she had to walk me back through how to get there, and I got so frustrated. It was like 45 minutes of frustration, late, the whole thing. And it's just, some of these newer areas, in areas sometimes you just don't have it. So it's always good to, double check and make sure, that, when your agent's going out there that they know exactly where they're going. Just an FYI, especially a driver. I was ready to blow up my car and everybody around me. So anyway, if you look on page 9.
I have a quick question.
Okay, great. Thank you.
This is Brandy in Idaho.
Miss Idaho, thank you. What's your question?
Just looking in this job description here, one of the things I'm noticing, and it's a minute detail, is that you've got to convert files to green or you've got red. Do you guys color code your file folders?
We have in the past, and right now we're not doing that. We use one file folder so when a listing comes in, it's a classification file folder that gets donated, catch my drift, by our title company. And these are the ones that, I'll be talking more about in our next classes coming up next month. And they're metal clipped at the top. They're legal size. They cost about $5 each, but we get them donated. And so that file folder, once that listing goes into pending, that file folder just goes to the next desk, and things are consolidated. And I'll go through all of that. So we're not color coding the files anymore like that. But I know a lot of people do. Okay? But that was a great question. And you're an analytical. You just couldn't help yourself because you wanted to know, and I think that's great. That's why you're such a great assistant, I'm sure. So good for you. Okay, good. Page 9, everybody. Okay, contract management. Another example. This one is not one that I wrote, but it's one that was very clear about, what she was doing. Ensure agent has all pertinent information on property. So I like it, too, and I wanted to give some of you analyticals and high S's, some information. The I's, you just love it all. The D's is like, okay, that's got too many words for me. So looking at that, just being really clear, there's some good verbiage there. And it reminds you, sometimes you guys are going to be shocked how much you do. Nobody should have a one-page job description in real estate as a real estate assistant. Seriously? Write down everything you do, because this shows the agent how valuable you are. Plus, it's a very defined roadmap. So, one of the things that, I want to go back and maybe just kind of cover real quick is, why do we have a job description? So go to the side there and say, here's the importance of a job description. One, it's a roadmap to success. You can't lose when you know what's expected of you. You can't lose. Number 2, it sets expectations. In expectations, when you're on board, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And it's not, I know I told you. I thought you were supposed to. You have to do that. Oh, that's part of your job. You need to do that. That's part of your job. And so be very clear about this. It sets expectations. And C, it creates accountability. So you're accountable for this job. And when the agent gives you a new job, you go, great, let me add that to the job description. And then after a while, you might want to say to the agent, great, I can do that. I'll add it to my job description. I'm feeling like I'm running out of time. We may have to take a few other things off of the job description. So it's a way for you to communicate, hey, my plate's getting pretty full here, buddy, all right? And 4, keeps you on track. So the expectations are set there. It creates accountability. It's a roadmap to success and keeps you on track. And, I know all of you guys want to do a great job, and I know that it gets frustrating sometimes when you don't know everything you're supposed to know. It happens. So just be very, very clear that this is how you start to build a great career. So if you look on page 10, under contract management, present offer to client when needed. Okay, so this person is licensed, all right? Submit paper to transaction coordinator representing the buyer, the seller, the appraisal coordination. So there's some good verbiage and all there. My favorite is on page 11. I always laugh when I mention this to the agents too. Client management, tethering to client. And the person who wrote this, I know this assistant from a bunch of years ago, and she had a great vocabulary. I would never say tethering to the client. I'd say how to keep a client or keeping the client or building repeat and referral business. But tethering, I like that. Okay, service the client in fashion so they would feel comfortable giving us referrals. So the bottom line is, treat all clients as you expect to be treated, Communication with client, this particular assistant spelled that out. Looking at page 12, here's everything on open houses. So I'm giving you samples of each one. Obviously, there's some verbiage you can use, some you don't like. I agree, it's a blueprint. But you can check these things off as you read through them. And I'm going to share with you that if you check off the ones and you spend about 45 minutes reading through this, checking them off, and then maybe another 15 to 30 minutes typing it up, you've got a great working document. So carve off some time to do that. And just tell your agent, hey, I really need to work on this job description. I'm going to do it, between 1:30 and 3 today or tomorrow, whenever it is. But schedule the time to get it done. And FYI, it might not take you that long. All right, administrative duties on page 13, prepare packets. So I like this one because they outlined each packet that they were in charge of. Inventory management, I like that. Most of you are in charge of inventory. So inventory management. This person has some finance stuff and whatever. That's great for them. Okay, page 14 is a combination of the two. And so I'm just sharing with you that, if some of these things are already what you're doing and you like some verbiage of one, this person combined both, which worked out pretty good for them. So if you go now to page, 18 is a good one to go look at because on listing clients, prepare the client file, monitor and follow up on listings, MLS information. And then, of course, you're going to have to put in your information for your market center and things like that also. And I think what's really great about this is, it gives you a real sense of what your job is, and then you can use this also to make sure that it's on your checklist, like installing lock boxes. Maybe that's not what you do, but somebody else does, but it needs to be on a checklist somewhere. So with that said, go to page 19, after closing. So this is a category that's real critical. And so one of the things that I would make a note on there is to double check the database. And that's for orphan buyers, and that's for the sellers and where they moved to, if you represent the seller, what their new address is, making sure that was done. And then thank you letter to other agent, to lender, put anniversary file. You're going to get all this information. So my little analyticals out there, hang on. It's coming. It's coming. You're going to be able to get it all. So just hang on. And then the other thing too is that one thing here after closing is to put down on that lockbox and make sure you have a system for that. We lost like 30 of them in the last 4 or 5 years, and that we're losing about 6 a year, which is ridiculous. And yes, we list about 150 properties a year, but they're like $100 each, $100 each. And so we really have tightened that down. We've got serial numbers. We know where they are. We have a board that checks them in and out. And FYI, probably shouldn't say this, we have our title reps help us pick them up sometimes. So, we're making sure that they're getting returned to us properly. So that's just a real smart thing, okay? All right. So question before I go on to page 21. Star 6 to unmute. You guys are easy today.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, Monica.
You're from California.
Oh, good. Here they come. Good. Okay, great. Go ahead. First one, someone said California, I think I heard.
That's me, Cynthia from Chico, California. I
Yes.
have a question about whether we could get these job descriptions maybe emailed in editable form.
Thanks for asking, and this is how MAPS presents the material. And the only thing that I can say about that is that, if you just go through and check it through, and I know it's tedious, but, creating your own. So I apologize. It's the only way MAPS can send them out. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chico. Sorry I didn't have a better answer for you. I apologize. All right.
Okay.
Next question, please.
Hi there,
This is
Monica.
Brandy again from Idaho Falls, from Idaho.
Okay,
On
so
the,
I'll take Miss Idaho, and then there was somebody else. Yes, Miss Idaho.
From a couple of calls ago, we had that weekly listing update and the weekly pending update. Is there a way that they can upload an Excel file, or can you email it out to a group?
Well,
We don't have to
that is an Excel file. That is your own Excel file. So you're just putting name, address, seller, at the top of that. That is just an Excel
I know. I just
file.
was hoping somebody had already done the work, so I didn't have to recreate it.
I know. I apologize. It's just how we have to do it through MAP. So I just have to follow the protocol. I'm not the boss. All right. Okay. Thank you. And then one other lady there, please.
Hi there. My name is Geneva, and I'm from Arizona.
Okay. We're in Arizona.
I'm in Phoenix with Keller Williams Biltmore Partners.
Oh, wow. The fancy area, the high-end properties, luxury.
Some of them are, yes, it's lovely.
Okay,
So-
good. All right.
My question for you is that I work with a large group of agents, and I think probably as I'm going through this course, what we really need is another me. But
You think?
right. But my question for you is, at this point, I am not handling all the incoming phone calls. All the phone calls, each agent has their own cell phone.
Yeah,
I'm
you
wondering
don't
how it
want to
looks
go
for a
down
large
that road.
group.
Yeah. Yeah, when you've got a group of agents, no, you do not want to go down that road. Now, my thought process is, though, for you, are you going to be processing more than 45 to 50 transactions with this group of agents?
Yes.
Well, you're on overload. And so there's a lot
Yes.
of things. So for you particularly, there won't be a 5-page list. You've just got to do some of the bare basics. And hopefully they're not asking you to build customer service and relationships in processing the files. All you really can do is process a file.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sure they'll hate me on that one too, but I'm just trying to be what's reasonable and logical. And the more deals they do, the less you can do with like even phone calls to clients and stuff. So I've seen transaction coordinators that work for a group of agents who, are just overwhelmed. They're not able to do customer service. So just get really clear. But what's great about you being on the call is you need to get clear what you can handle and what you can't handle. And so that list, a lot of that's not going to be anything that you can handle, but at least you can go, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that. All right.
Yes,
so
I
that'll
think
open
that's a helpful way to think about it. Thank you.
Yeah, and that'll open up some really good lines of communication, especially when you turn the job description back to them and say, here's what I can do, so that one agent doesn't expect you to be talking to the clients, twice a week Or, when you see a closing, when you see my listing checklist, it's going to say call them 5 times in 5 days. That can't be what you're doing with a group. That can't be. So it'll open up some good conversations for you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Good. Okay, great. All right, page 21. What's wrong with this job description? Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's one sentence in here that's probably got 37 words. Another one has 42 words. They're all run-on sentences and must be knowledgeable of the following programs, skills necessary, time management, detail-oriented, responsible for all aspects of closing from point of sale through closing, including update, maintain, integrity, and history of information on top producer for all clients, both sellers and buyers. Really? What does that mean? Somebody tell me what that job is. If I was going to come and apply for this job and you gave me this as a job description, I'd go, oh, well, that looks easy enough. Ha ha, right?
This is how not to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so don't do it that way. Do not do it that way. Okay. All right. So systems for writing a job description. Okay, so you're going to list everything. We went through this. You're going to list everything you do occasionally. You can use this as a little format if you want. Keep it simple. And then just copy some of the verbiage that we've given you on what the duties and, what the daily duties are and, what the overall goals are. I think the goals are important. And remember, you always have a date on it. You have the agent sign off on it. Okay? All right. So with that said, any other questions before I move on to what's the agent's job description? This is frightening. You're going to learn this. It's going to be shocking. All right. Any questions? Okay. So what's the number one thing? I'm going to open this up. You guys are going to work on this call. I want to see how this goes. All right. So hit *6 to unmute. What's the number one job that an agent should do?
Lead gen.
Lead generation.
Atta girls, way to go. Lead generation, you get the gold star. And what would be an average that they should be lead generating a day? How many hours?
2 hours.
2 hours minimum, depending on their goals. But it could be up to 4, but 2 hours is a minimum. All right, good. What's number 2? What would be number 2?
Lead follow-up.
Ah, beautiful. Okay, excellent. Exactly right. Perfect. Number 2, lead follow-up. And where should that be in the schedule?
My agent usually does it in the afternoon.
Okay. All right. And does your agent ever have trouble with appointments getting away in the afternoon?
No. He will do appointments in the afternoon and some in the early evening.
So
he has them scheduled so he does them on certain days as a rule.
Okay, but lead generation is done what time for him?
Usually in the morning, between 9 and 11:30.
So lead generation is done in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I agree to. Lead generation should be done in the morning. It's done first thing in the morning or it's done before they go to lunch, but they have to do it every single day in the morning. Doing it in the afternoon is great, but a lot of agents aren't disciplined to, move it if they've got a listing appointment. Oh, can't do lead generation today, got a listing appointment. Wrong answer. So, you usually figure out about 30 to 45 minutes for lead follow-up. And I want you guys to write this down. You'll hear me say it again. 70% of all deals, 70% of all deals come from lead follow-up. Okay? 70% of all deals come from lead follow-up. All right? What do you think number 3 is?
Writing contracts.
Absolutely. Writing contracts. Now, I want you to go back up to number 1, and I want you to write a $sign. Number 2, I want you to write a $sign. And number 3, I want you to write a $sign. So writing contracts. Great. What's number 4?
Monica, did you miss one? Go on appointments before writing contracts?
Yes, I didn't miss it. They missed it, but that's okay. So Katie, So Katie added go on appointments. That was just going to say. So how do we get a contract? We have to go on an appointment. So that gets a dollar sign also. There's your dollar sign. And then number 5 would be negotiating contracts, and that's a dollar sign. Okay? So group, how much time during the day should the agent be spending on files or working on checking up on you and what you're doing? How much time in the day should they be doing that?
None. None.
Right answer. None is good. Okay, but the reality is, if they're doing it more than 1 hour of them, you guys talking about what we're doing today, what's going to happen, oh, by the way, you need to know about this. If it's more than 1 hour, your agent doesn't have enough dollar signs in their schedule. And so, getting them to understand. And so one of the things that I think is really critical is if you published or printed out their job description, so lead generation, lead follow-up, going on appointments, writing contracts, and negotiating, all of those have a dollar sign. If you have them by any for any reason, if you have them, come to you and start bothering you and bugging you about stuff, wouldn't it be great to tap on the wall and say, which part of this is in your job description? I just want to help you here. Tell me which part of this is in your job description. So, people are just amazed at me when I say, I don't even know where the files are. No, I've trained, I've trusted my assistants to absolutely take the ball and run with it. And when an agent gets involved in the files, then it's kind of like who's on first, who's on second, who's on third. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So here's the ease of what we're trying to do. And I'm sorry that I can't get you what you need in a Word doc or something so you can move it all around. But take the time to go through this and take the time to look at each one and check it off and read through it. There's some great verbiage there, and there's things that you're going to need to add and change. So let me ask this question. Who got hired with a job description? Would you please speak up? Tell me where you're from.
This is Ashley Gates from High Point, North Carolina.
Hi, Ashley. You got hired with a job description? And how many
yes,
pages
it was.
How many pages
It was
was
about 3 sentences.
Thank you. You're perfect. So you had what did it say? You do everything?
Basically, she hired me after she got through 2 bad assistants, and she never had a job description, and so she wrote something up real fast that basically was just help her out.
Okay, good. And I've heard handle all paperwork, handle all calls, and that was a job description.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, and a lot of people, you're not alone. You're not alone. A lot of people didn't even get anything written. And so do you see the value of if you take the time now and you start writing down or checking off and putting in a format that makes sense for you and categorizing, do you see how valuable you become in the eyes of an agent?
Well, for us, we actually have been thinking about hiring another admin for a while now. And after we're working with a coach with Keller Williams, and our coach has been telling me to write up a job description for a while. And it has been, I don't have the time or the content to be able to do that. So when my agent was on the call last week, I've already written up a job description for myself and then a job description for our second admin and then all the other jobs that we would like to outsource.
Great. You're the perfect person for me to talk to. How long did that take you for doing like one job description, say yours? Did it take you about an hour and a half?